host, John Brisson. Thank you for being a subscriber. If you want to support my work, buy me a coffee/We've Read, or you could donate through Cash App or PayPal. The links will be in the show notes and a pinned comment. If you subscribe to more research, We've Read the documents on Odyssey, Patreon, Substack, Rumble, and YouTube. Substack gives you the greatest access to my content. Get access to my content, to my written work, as well as being able to listen to my live streams in audio format in your favorite podcast listening app. And my fellow brother in Christ and I, Jeremy Stone, have a Christian podcast, By the Fruits. Subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts at. God bless each and every one of you. This is some interesting information. I came across an article that I saw yesterday. I did some research. There's probably more to be done. I don't know if I'll be able to pick it back up. If you have any information you want to send to me on Liam Fox, you can email me at we've read the documents at protonmail.com. I researched for a few hours, but, this is not an exhaustive research into the UK Abraham Accords Foundation. But there's some decent evidence here to look at the Abraham Accords from a different angle. Okay. So here we have from the Times of Israel, 5 years later, Abraham Accords still anchor regional cooperation. On Thursday, the Holon Institute of Technology, HIT, and the United Kingdom's Abraham Accords Group signed a memorandum of understanding to strengthen their cooperation on artificial intelligence, bringing it together Israel, the United Kingdom, and the broader Abraham Accords community. The signing ceremony was held at the British ambassador's residence in Tel Aviv. This agreement is a continuation of the collaborative research between HIT and UKAAG, which has revealed promising opportunities for AI-driven cooperation across various sectors, including health, energy, education, and governments. We'll get to health. We'll get to what all this has to deal with. Okay? Just remember that. Just remember health. Officials point out the focus will be on responsible AI, professional training, and creating shared regional standards and best practices. Okay, so here we have the United Kingdom Abraham Accords Group. All right, and here we have the signing ceremony with HIT, right? So HIT is the Holon Institute of Technology, is an Israeli independent public college offering programs of bachelor's degree and several master's degrees programs. It has a affiliation or sister college with the New York Institute of Technology. It was established in 1969. The location is in Holon, Israel. Okay. And so in a world fraught with conflict, political instability, and a relentless tide of misinformation, Abraham Accords have emerged an unexpected source of stability. It has been 5 years since the United Arab Emirates, more in the UAE in a minute, Bahrain, and later Morocco joined the agreements. Despite the challenges and the upheaval following October 7th, the Accords have shown remarkable resilience, defying many expectations. The American Jewish Committee podcast, Architects of Peace, pulls back the curtain on how the Accord survived. The show dives into people, assumptions, and quiet back-channel work that's kept this unlikely peace alive during Israel's hardest stretch in decades. There's one thing that stands out over and over in these conversations. The Abraham Accords were never supposed to be some empty handshake for the cameras. Right from the start, it was about changing the region from a place known mostly for conflict to one focused on cooperation, trade, and shared opportunity. People remember the Belt and Road Initiative? Ann Dresden, who spent 18 years at the Pentagon before joining AJC's Center for a New Middle East, kicks off the series with this. One thing I learned from my many years at the Department of Defense is that military instruments of power are not sufficient to really build long-lasting peace and stability. The importance of trade, of economic development, of people-to-people ties is so essential that we think of as an enduring or a lasting peace. Trump, the business maker, the deal maker, right? Making craft prosper, dividing the land for gain. We'll see. That belief, security alone just isn't enough, has quietly kept Abraham Accords alive, even through the darkest days of the Israel-Hamas war. Okay, so if anyone really lives out the idea is Dr. Ali Rashid Al-Nuami. He's a top UAE lawmaker and one of the first public supporters of the court. His explanation of why the United Arab Emirates didn't walk away, even when everyone else seemed to be losing hope, is refreshingly honest. Why didn't the UAE pull out the Abraham Accords? My answer is this: it's not with the government our engagement. Governments will change. Our Abraham Accords is with Israel as a nation, with its people. This is where you build bridges of trust, respect, partnership, and shared responsibility. That difference between deals made by politicians and real connections between societies probably explains why the Accord survived all the chaos the last 2 years. Even after October 7th, which remember, Joseph Robinette Biden and his administration continued the Abraham Accords. They didn't stop it. It grew. Okay? And now the Abraham Accords are under the Heritage Foundation as a major platform of Project 2025. Do not forget that. Okay? Do not forget that. Even after October 7th, when cultural exchanges stopped for a while, the cooperation didn't just dry up. It changed shape, so it kept going. The UAE stepped up, sending nearly half of the humanitarian aid that reached Gaza, building desalination plants, running field hospitals, evacuating patients. Dr. Ali Nuaimi says none of this would have happened without years of trust building first. Business ties, the quiet engine of peace. Okay. So. The UK Abraham Accords Group and Shakara signed MOE to promote and expand the Abraham Accords. Former United Kingdom Secretary of State for Defense and former UK Secretary of State for International Trade, Dr. Liam Fox. Okay, now Liam Fox was also a major pusher and promoter of the Afghanistan war and the United Kingdom's involvement in Afghanistan. Okay. And Group Executive Director Laura Roberts will sign on behalf of the United Kingdom Abraham Accords Group. Dr. Fox heads a delegation of British parliamentarians to see the firsthand the pact of the Abrahamic agreements on trade and industry, as well as on religious and cultural cooperation. Israeli co-founder and CEO Amit Deri and Dr. Magid al-Sarai will sign on the behalf of Sharika. Speeches will be delivered by Dr. Fox and Dr. al-Sarai, as well as the museum's founder, Ahmed al-Mansouri. The UAE ambassador to the United Kingdom, Mansouri Abdullah Khalfain Bahol, will be the UK delegation's senior members and activists from Sharika, including Director of Global Affairs Dan Farahmeen, U.S. CEO Omar El-Busaidi, and the media and academic advisor Dr. Najat Al-Said, as well as personalities from the diplomatic community, government, and the political community of the United Arab Emirates, and prominent members of the Jewish community of the United Arab Emirates will be in attendance. Dr. Liam Fox said, the UK Abrahamic Accord Group is delighted to be working with Sharika. Our two organizations are committed to advancing the goals of the Abrahamic Accords and promoting peace and prosperity in the Middle East. We hope that through this new partnership, we have an impact beyond borders and spread the message of peace to all. Okay. So we have the United Kingdom Abraham's Accord Group working directly with the Hudson Institute. Okay. Working directly with the United Arab Emirates, working directly with Israel and Tel Aviv. Okay. Working directly with the United States of America as well, too. So we have Sir Liam Fox, chairman of the UK of the Abraham Accords Group. Sir Liam was a conservative member of the Parliament for North Somerset from 1992 to 2024, and John Major's government he served as minister at the Foreign and Commonwealth Office and the government whip, Lord Commissioner of the Treasury. He had previously served as a parliamentary private secretary to Michael Howard, the Home Secretary. Between 1997 and 2010, he had several roles on the Conservative Party opposition front bench, such as Constitutional Affairs spokesman, Shadow Health Secretary, Conservative Party chairman, Shadow Foreign Secretary, and Shadow Defense Secretary. Yeah, he resigned from being Defense Secretary in a scandal. We'll get to that more on that later. In May 2010, Prime Minister David Cameron appointed him Secretary of State for Defense. Actually, no. He would actually resign from that. Not the Shadow Defense Secretary, but the Secretary of State for Defense. Okay. In 2013, he published Rising Tides, a book analyzing crucial world issues with Tony Blair, CNP Tony Blair, CNP Condoleezza Rice, Malcolm Rifkind, and CNP Donald Rumsfeld. Between July 2016 and July 2019, he served in Prime Minister Theresa May's government as Secretary of State for International Trade and President of the Board of Trade. As International Trade Secretary, he was tasked with creating the United Kingdom's first independent trade policy, for 40 years post-Brexit. During this time in post, he strongly argued for global trade liberalization, championed the free trade, and supported a rules-based system with World Trade Organization reform. He was UK's nominee to be Director General of the World Trade Organization in 2020, nominated by Prime Minister Boris Johnson on behalf of the United Kingdom government. Before entering politics, Sir Liam worked as a National Health Service doctor and then as a family GP, general practitioner. He's also a former civilian army medical officer and individual surgeon with the St. John Ambulance. In 2012, he founded the military charity Give Us Time. He was born in Scotland, attended St. Bride's High School and the biggest comprehensive state school in Europe before studying medicine at the University of Glasgow Medical School. So you'd think, okay, well, there'd be other high-ranking people as Sir Liam Fox on the Abraham Accord teams. Nah, it just seems to be young adult males, roughly in their 20s and 30s, where he is pushing 60s to 70s. That's curious. More on that later. So here we have the Abraham Accords group working with Trends, which seems to be this kind of research and kind of think tank in the UAE, working directly with the UAE government, working directly with Trends. Seems to be meeting with Bahrain and everything like that. So this is what the UK Abraham Accords group's been up to. So, of course, Dr. Liam Fox is an ardent Zionist, still is to this day. We'll show his history of that. And he's Catholic. He's Catholic as well, too. Dr. Liam Fox, one of the outsiders in contest, is a Catholic of Irish heritage, yet has a Scottish upbringing. So here we have October 2nd, 2024 issue of the Jewish Weekly, where it shows that Liam Fox spoke at a Conservative Friends of Israel conference. Okay. Still ardent Zionist, still pushing forth the Abraham Accords. Here we have a quote from Liam Fox, member of the Conservative Friends of Israel. This is, I think, back from 2010, so he's been a member for 15-plus years at least. Liam Fox is a member of the Conservative Friends of Israel and has said, Israel's enemies are our enemies, and this is the battle in which we all stand together or we all fall divided. Uh-oh. Liam Fox, who's also an ardent supporter of President Donald John Trump. Imagine my surprise.
Well, the president has his own way of expressing himself, and I don't think that the protesters were an embarrassment to the government. I think they were an embarrassment to themselves. And I think that when you have the president of the United States, the leader of the free world, being greeted with signs that say, go home, we hate you. I don't think that reflects the genuine good manners and hospitality of the British people.
So that was when you had British protesters protesting Trump's visit to the United Kingdom in 2018. Liam Fox saying that he's behind Trump. He still is to this day. This is Darren Golden Nuggies' X account. Here is Candace Owens' husband, George Farmer, rubbing shoulders at the Oxford University Conservative Association with Dr. Liam Fox. So here we have Farmer and Fox with all of these young conservatives. There's allegations about Farmer, right? That his marriage to Candace Owens is a cover. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but there are allegations. There are allegations that Candace Owens is his beard. I don't know. I'm just saying that those are out there. Now, you might be asking, well, why? This is the second time that we've seen Liam Fox with young conservatives. And of itself, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. However, let's get to why it may mean something and why there might, be a Franklin S. scandal going around with Liam Fox. Okay, it actually might put more credence to Liam Fox and George Farmer being seen here in this photo together. So here we have Adam Weirity. Now, Adam Weirity is a Scottish businessman. He's a former friend for Liam Fox, a friend of the former UK Secretary of State for Defense and ex-Secretary of State for International Trade, Liam Fox. Okay, not former friend. He is a friend. Friends, right? Friends have known each other for a long time. All right, and let's see here. Role in Atlantic Bridge. Weirdy was also responsible for operating the Atlantic Bridge from Fox's office at taxpayers' expense. The conservative charity worked in conjunction with the U.S. lobbying group, the American Legislative Exchange Council, or ALEC. Huh. Well, ALEC is just under the branch of CNP controlled entities. So the Council for National Policy, which allows cooperation between legislators and corporations such as Philip Morris, Texaco, and McDonald's in addressing common interests. According to United States charity records, Weirdy was listed as a UK executive director with the address corresponding to Fox's former room at the House of Commons, number 3401 in the MP's block at Portcullis House, which served as the charity's official headquarters. The Guardian reported that between 2007 and 2010, Weirdy's income as chief executive of the Atlantic Bridge was in excess of £90,000. A charity was established by Fox to help U.S.-UK relations and serve as a reminder of the Reagan-Thatcher era, and Weirdy was giving a lead role, just giving a job that pays very well to your friend, right? Your best man at your wedding, right? The charity also functions as a counterpart to ALEC-founded Atlantic Bridge Group, a sister organization in the United States. Found criticisms by regulation that the charity was too politically oriented to be eligible for charitable status. The UK wing disbanded in September 2011. We have Fox taking foreign trips with Weirdy all over the place. Israel, Singapore, Dubai, Florida, Dubai, Washington, D.C., Bahrain, Dubai, Hong Kong, Israel, Switzerland, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Florida, Washington, Hong Kong, Singapore, Sri Lanka, Dubai, Washington, D.C. again, and Spain. Just traveling around on a private jet, many trips. Why Liam Fox is dogged by gay insinuations. Not since last year's saga of William Hague has a special advisor, Christopher Myers, has the British press, or sections of it at least, got itself into a tangle insinuating that a senior public figure might be gay. Adam Weirdy has been close friends with Defense Secretary Liam Fox for about 15 years, we were told. The Tory politician met him when he was a 20-year-old student at Edinburgh University. How and why they met is delightfully unclear. Fox then appointed Weirdy executive director of Atlantic Bridge. The shadowy right-wing charity recently closed down because it turned out to be not charitable at all. According to the reports in 2002 and 2003, Weirdy lived rent-free in Fox's London flat, a taxpayer-funded second home. Other newspaper stories have Fox and Weirdy attended karaoke nights together, where Fox used the assumed name of Barry from Bournemouth. Yeah. The two men were fond of dressing alike, the Mail on Sunday has discovered. The paper even found a behavioral expert to say when people are very close and friendly, they often have a tendency to start looking alike, even down to the posture they adopt and the way they dress. Very similar to husband and wives, right? Starting to take features of each other the longer they've been together, right? And despite their 17-year age difference, seems to be a pattern here with good old Liam Fox. George Farmer, the people that he's hired for the UK Abraham Accords, his friendship with Weirdy. Is it more than a friendship? As his best man when Fox married Jesme Bard in December 2005, a wedding that took place against a background of gossip, innuendo, or up your endo, as they like to say in Fleet Street on the occasions of political intrigue. Fox was a 43-year-old bachelor when he announced his engagement to Bard, a fellow doctor who worked at the Roy Castle Lung Foundation. The timing of the announcement was fascinating to the press. It came a week after Fox, then shadow foreign secretary, appeared in the headlines for entertaining a group of British students in a hotel bedroom in Paris, where they emptied the minibar, and one student ended up staying the night on the sofa in Fox's room. Well, I'll be. Why would a 43-year-old man wish to spend several hours getting smashed with a gang of more than 20 years his junior? Patrick Hennessy, political editor of the Sunday Telegraph, asked Liam Fox in an interview published the following weekend. I did question time from Paris, and I was there for 3 days, Fox responded. They were a nice bunch of students. They came to the program. They were in the audience, and they were desperately keen to get to talk to a British politician. They invited me to a barbecue, so I went, why not? The announcement of the engagement to Jasmine Bard also came shortly after Fox declared he'd be running against David Cameron, David Davies, and others for the leadership of the Tory party that December. Hennessy wrote, as in case with many politicians reach their early 40s as a bachelor, Dr. Fox has been dogged by persistent rulers about his sexuality. However, he's put that all the rest by announcing his engagement last week to Jasmine Bard. Except that for some reason, Fox has not put it to rest, nor it might be said, at least until yesterday's apology, has he bothered to try to do so. When the William Hague saga finally fizzled out last year, it was generally agreed that whatever truth about his relationship with his young advisor, his decision to allow Myers to sleep in the same hotel room showed a lack of judgment. Now they're saying the same about Fox. Why did the defense secretary not think to himself in the light of the trouble Hague had encountered, maybe young Adam should stop trailing after me, handing out business cards saying he's my advisor? The fact that Fox did nothing about it supports a theory that Westminster he doesn't really give a blank what people think of him. As James Forsyth wrote in the Mail on Sunday, Fox prides himself on not playing by the safety-first rules of the 21st century political game. This conceit might be well his undoing. When Forsyth asked a political ally of Fox to explain how the defense secretary had gotten himself into his current pickle, he received the response because he's a reckless blank with no judgment. The recklessness that was allowed Fleet Street to continue its assumptions about his sexuality. That and the fact he has plenty of enemies in the Ministry of Defense, as the Mole writes today, who are happy to keep the rumor alive, even if there's not a shred of evidence, real evidence to support it. The paradox is that if David Cameron would have found himself of two minds about firing his defense secretary later today, Fox might be better off if he were gay. Cameron is keen for the Tories to be seen as on side with homosexuals. He told the party conference last week in a face of disgust from many party members that he supports the legalization of gay marriage. British scandal linked to pro-Israel groups. It's from the Jewish Forward, October 28, 2011, by Kevin O'Sullivan. The scandal that led to the recent resignation of Britain's high-powered defense minister has laid bare a seamy underside to the funding and influencing of politicians in the United Kingdom, and the donors of some of the country's key pro-Israel groups appear to be near the center of the affair. Liam Fox, who resigned his defense post October 14th, is forced to explain the nature of his relationship with Adam Weirity, a longtime personal friend, after it was revealed that Weirity had been traveling abroad while representing himself as official emissary of the defense minister with Fox's knowledge. Weirty's travels included forays to Iran, where he reportedly met with opposition activists, and to Israel, where he said to met with Israeli intelligence agents, including the director of the Mossad. With no official government position, Weirity could not pay for his travels via the government. In fact, his travel was funded by a non-governmental organization he established, in which 3 of the 6 principal donors were linked to pro-Israel organizations. There's some major blackmail on Liam Fox. Intuitively, there has to be. Despite the revelations to date, Dermot Cahill, Director of Public Affairs and the Media for the Britain-Israeli Communications and Research Center, or BICOM, a major pro-Israel public relations and lobby group, said Jewish interests are unlikely to suffer lasting damage. It hasn't been very helpful, but I want to overstate the importance of what happened, Cahill said. Inevitably, any talk around pro-Israel lobbying trends to throw up a whiff of conspiracy, which unfortunately helps reinforce the negative stereotypes of the Jewish community. The United States' pro-Israel lobby is large and vocal and wields considerable influence in the national body politic. It also operates fairly openly and is subject to frequent scrutiny. But across the Atlantic, Jewish interest groups have traditionally operated far more quietly and have been subject to much less examination. The bright light now being shown on the Fox resignation may change the state of affairs. Fox officially quit his post because he allowed Weirity, his close friend, to pursue his own business interests at the heart of the government without an official role. Just corruption, but was there more to that? Weirity, who's also the best man at Fox's wedding, went into hiding amid lurid headlines about the exact nature of the relationship between those two men. Yeah, and Fox just keeps showing up around young boys, don't he? Young adult men and boys, doesn't he? He's just finding himself in such situations, does he not? There's probably more. If I went to go look, I think I'd find more, not less. Don't you, chat? I think I'd find more. Just me. Now, focus is shift to Pargov, the non-profit organization that Weirity set up to fund his travels on Fox's behalf. Among its major donors is Mick Davis, chair of the Board of Trustees of the Jewish Leadership Council, and chairman of the United Jewish Israel Appeal. Davis, 52, is also chief executive of the mining company Xstrata, listed in the top 100 companies on the London Stock Exchange with a market value of about $65 billion. The millionaire businessman, who's declined to go in detail about why he would donate money to Pargov, but he also paid about $240,000 to the Conservative Party and $12,000 to Education Minister Michael Grove, another staunchly pro-Israel cabinet minister. Second donor Haim Poju Zablodowitz is a flamboyant ex-arms dealer who contributed slightly less than $5,000 through his investment firm Tamaris. The London-based billionaire who counts Madonna as a close friend is also a key figure in BICOM, which is regarded roughly as the transatlantic equivalent of Washington American-Israel Public Affairs Committee. The third notable donor is financier Michael Lewis, a former BICOM deputy chairman who gave $47,000 to Pargov. All three men, who are understood to be close friends, have distanced themselves from Werity, but the fact remains their money helped fund, at least in part, some of the 18 trips abroad on Fox's coattails since 2009. In total, Werity was present in about 40 of Fox's 70 recorded engagements, domestic or otherwise, while Fox was in office. That's pretty close. Following them all around the world and doing business deals. Pretty close. That, to me, that's scandalous. You know, going to the Middle East, going to United States, going all throughout Europe. Another aspect of the affair focuses on Howard Lay, who's the Conservative Party's treasurer and the vice president of the Jewish Leadership Council, by representatives from community and religious groups, including Davis. In a role as Conservative Party treasurer, Lee reported encouraged wealthy donors to fund Fox's interest in office and turn Fox's interest into Werity. The outcry over these donations has led calls for a central registry of lobby groups, which the government is under mounting pressure to create. Cahill said his group BICOM would view any move towards such a registry as perfectly reasonable. Yeah, they do now. Got caught. Handed a cookie jar. Mark Ramsdale, a prominent political strategy consultant, predicted the legislation to require such registry would be passed during the current parliament. He cited as a model regulation for the United States to require the lobbying Congress to register with that body, but he cautioned it's one of the challenges for any government to define what a lobbyist is. For example, people can call themselves an advocate, counselor, or consultant, can still operate outside the existing voluntary codes of conduct. Ramsdale said the states governing political contributions could be another area for reform. At the moment, political parties must declare donations of $12,000 or more elected officials, but must disclose they receive $1,600 or more. There's no limit to the amount of an individual organization can donate or lend to a registered political party. Focus in this case also includes Werity's use of the money. Virtually all the donors to Werity's cause have expressed surprise to learn that their cash helped fund Werity's apparent love of first-class air travel and upmarket hotels while on his forays. While it's not clear whether they were aware exactly how close Werity was to Fox or how much influence, if any, Werity wielded over his policy. Last February, Werity arranged a dinner attended by Fox, Matthew Gold, who is Britain's ambassador to Israel, and senior Israeli political figures at a security conference in Herzliya, Israel. Sanctions against Iran were reportedly discussed at the dinner. Crucially, it's understood that Israeli intelligence agents, including then Mossad chief Meir Dagan, also attended the meeting. Merkur, still Britain's intelligence service MI6, apparently warned Werity that multiple visits to Iran's capital, Tehran, and contacts with Iranian dissident groups could be misconstrued, given his close ties to Fox, and suggesting official British support for Iranian regime change. Foreign Secretary William Hague has taken pains to describe the notion that Werity was running a parallel foreign policy as fanciful. Before establishing Pargov, Werity was CEO of the charity Atlantic Bridge, which was founded by Fox to promote close relations between America and the UK. All right, we already talked about that. British minister resigns over best man scandal. British Defense Secretary Liam Fox has resigned amid a spiraling scandal over his links to the best man at his wedding, becoming the first Conservative minister to quit the coalition government. Mr. Fox, who played a key role in Britain's military campaigns in Libya and Afghanistan, stepped down after it emerged that his friend Adam Werity, posed as a government advisor, took a string of foreign jaunts with the minister. I mistakenly allowed the distinction between my personal interests and my government activities to become blurred. Blurred lines! The consequences of this have become clearer in recent days, he wrote to Mr. Cameron in his resignation letter. I am very sorry for this. Sure you were, Liam. Sure you were. Philip Heyman, the Conservative former transport minister, has been named as Mr. Fox's replacement, and Justine Greening, a junior finance minister, will take over Mr. Heyman's old role, and he still continued to have appointments and was put up for appointments in the United Kingdom's government. even though this is scandalous, scandal after scandal after scandal with Liam Fox, all right? So, of course, he's making, if Trump is the Antichrist, craft to prosper and joining with the UK Abraham Accords, making good old cushy cushion Chabad Lubavitch proud, right? Of course. Of course. With rumors swirling in the press about the nature of Mr. Fox's relationship with his 34-year-old former flatmate, Mr. Fox apologized to Parliament earlier this week and admitted that Mr. Warity had accompanied him on 18 foreign trips since he became minister. Mr. Warity also visited Mr. Fox 22 times at the Defense Ministry in London during the same period, and printed business cards describing himself as Mr. Fox's advisor despite having no official governmental role. But the killer blow came on Friday when reports that financial backers linked to Israel and a private security firm had funded Mr. Warity's first-class travel and the hotel stays during this time during his time with the minister. Yeah, because Israel is getting outed. The Times newspaper reported that donors funneled £147,000, $231,000, to a non-for-profit company set up by Weirder called Pargov to pay for his first-class flights and up-class hotels. Of course, we have the Internet Wayback Machine. It destroyed a lot of the Atlantic Bridge news way back for many, many years. And I'll show you in a minute. You can't really see it except for 2008. And the only reason why I don't think this was destroyed because it was put on Wikipedia. Okay. But we have Speech to the Heritage Foundation. So we have Liam Fox, Speech to Chatham House. Speech to Alec, right? So you have Alec, pretty much CNP, Liam Fox, CNP, pretty much, right? Pretty much. And as you can see, the years, you only have really 2007, 2008, and then nothing, and then nothing, and then nothing, and then nothing. And then when you click the 2021 link and the 2025 link, you get they are no longer found. Yeah. So, flashback. The Heritage Foundation pushing Operation Warp Speed and Operation Tiberius Kirk. I covered this. There is a video on my Substack. It might even be on my Honesty of me breaking down the Heritage Foundation and the Council for National Policy pushing Operation Warp Speed, Operation Tiberius Kirk. Interviewing the military head of Operation Warp Speed, Gustav Perna, who later went on to the advisory board of Palantir. Okay. It's a flashback, just to remind people of this. UK Trade Department courted U.S. firm Palantir over untapped NHS data potential. And who was involved with that? That would be Liam Fox in 2019. And where was Liam Fox? Well, he was in Davos, Switzerland. He was at a World Economic Forum meeting. And he met with Palantir CEO Alex Karp. And what did he institute before the pandemic? Oh, that would be the United Kingdom's version of Operation Tiberius Kirk, which later it would come to fruition that I've covered on this channel. So before the pandemic, in 2019, in January, Liam Fox met with Alexander Karp, the CEO of Palantir, at a World Economic Forum meeting at Davos, Switzerland, and literally put together the National Health Service and a contract with Palantir to get all the United Kingdom people's health data that was later, because of Operation Tiberius Kirk in America, which was a joint UK, United Nations, America data gathering project of anyone who was hospitalized and tested positive in a clinical setting for COVID-19 or anybody who got the jabs. Your medical history is now entered into Palantir for 10 years, which later became a part of Doge. Doge is not done away with, per the earlier reports. Doge themselves said they're not done. Of course they're not done. We know what Doge is. So Liam Fox was involved with Operation Tiberius Kirk and the National Health Service in the United Kingdom. He facilitated it. And he's working with AI and the Abraham Accords. You don't think that Palantir ain't all up in that either? We know Israel's using, AI to target people in Gaza. Whether they're, Hamas and enemy combatants, which Israel funded Hamas, or civilians in Gaza using what they call the gospel, right? It's all run by Palantir. Palantir supporting Israel. Alex Karp being an ultra-Zionist supporting Israel. However, by 2019, so read just one part and we'll be done. So with Liam Fox, the UK Abraham Accords, we got big data, we got the UAE, we got Israel, we got Palantir, we got Heritage Foundation, we have CNP, we have ALEC, and we have scandals and scandals and scandals. And a possible cover-up of a pedophilia scandal or a homosexual scandal. Really sordid people working towards building the Abraham Accords, right? Government procurements must be transparent and scrupulously fair. The FDP procurement process fails at its first hurdle. It's a culmination of years of influence peddling by Palantir, exacerbated by the waiving of ordinary procurement procedures during the pandemic. Prior to the gaining a toehold in the NHS at a time when procurement rules had been suspected, Palantir had no track record in health. Palantir is mainly an intelligence and defense contractor whose systems support surveillance and policing. Private sector use of Foundry has been concentrated in very different sectors such as aerospace and energy. However, by 2019, Palantir has identified healthcare as a market in which to move into and the National Health Service as a target. So it started lobbying government officials. In early 2019, Liam Fox and officials in the Trade Department held closed-door meetings with Palantir bosses at Davos. Briefing notes say the meetings were set up to discuss an untapped commercial potential of NHS data, and they kicked off the charm offensive by Palantir ultimately helping get the firm's toe in NHS door. In mid-2019, Palantir's Lewis Mosley wooed the then chair of NHS England's board, Lord David Pryor, over watermelon cocktails at a closed-door dinner. Over the coming months, Palantir executives heavily lobbied Pryor, Matthew Gould, and other NHS officials. Pryor flew to California in January 2020 for private meetings with Palantir. So there you go. Data and Palantir, front and center in the United Kingdom's Abraham Accords, working directly with Israel Technological Institutes, as well as United Arab Emirates. Data and AI. Just destroy the regulations for artificial intelligence. Genesis Project. The United States Department of Energy. Who has major contracts with the United States Department of Energy that seems to be left out in all the reporting and diagrams of the Genesis Project? That would be Palantir. We'll get to that when I do my stream on the Genesis Project. Take care, everyone. God bless. See you soon.